Yes. Forgot to report, ran on the field. Clock was running down, we got in the huddle and ran the play. And it's an unacceptable mistake. So obviously I apologize to all my teammates, everyone on the offense. Things like that can't happen. And yeah, it's 100% my error.
When you saw the flag, was there a moment where you went, oh no, or did you realize while the play was going on, oh, did I report, or when did it occur to you?
No, when they threw the flag, obviously I was like, it's 100% me. So yeah.
Did anybody tell you before going in, Doug, to remind you to report, or did you just kind of go onto the field?
Obviously, we've been doing it all year, so yeah, unfortunately, it just slipped my mind, and I ran out there and didn't do it, so it's tough.
Sometimes you're at a holiday murder mystery party, and you and your podcast host are talking about how neither of you may be able to watch the Bears Monday night game live when it strikes you both. The game doesn't even matter anymore. With so much drama in the LBC, it's kind of hard to care about what happens on the field. Overshadowed by all that's been happening off the field and behind the scenes, with new insights into the dysfunction being unearthed daily. This is a point of the season we've reached, and there is still football to be played. Crazy. From hard knocks and hope to 0 points in the first half for the third time in 3 games. Another game, another loss. So, what did we learn about the Bears this week?
Oh my God, I can't believe we only have 3 more of these. So there's that. I mean, just watching it, a part of you dies a little bit every time.
Yeah.
But I think what we learned this week is apathy has totally set in for the fan base.
Yeah.
They went through all the roller coaster of emotions of skepticism to cautiously optimistic, the audacity of hope, all of that. Then all of a sudden to anger, kind of a little bit of acceptance, kind of a little bit of negotiation, sadness. Now it's just apathy. I think, we have a group text, right, that goes on after those Bears games. And I think you noted that it was pretty silent.
Yes. Silent. We traditionally have Pratik, who screams for an emergency podcast on a near weekly basis, and said silence this week. I'm sure you have other Bears group chats that that we each have our own sort of other ones, and that one was also absolutely silent. Last week, Lone Star Daddy texted me and was like, I just want this season to end. And
Yeah.
like that was kind of what our conversation was. We're just like, oh my God, like this it there's we just need this to be over, and I cannot even imagine what the players feel having to go out there and like still do stuff and try to like play football and be competitive. And yeah, it's a bad place.
Well, they're not doing that, so I don't know how hard they're really trying. It's pretty brutal. But yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that was I caught a little bit of Thomas Brown's post game in the I don't know who asked him that question. He basically was like, "Do you think that they aren't putting in effort?" And Thomas Brown said, "I disagree. You should go check the tape. They gave an effort from start to finish, but it's kind of, what are they even playing for?"
He's just basically going through the motions as well. I think we learned, if we're going to learn anything, it's that Thomas Brown is not the answer, right? Everybody's kind of optimistic. This guy, but I mean, there's a lot that happened to him in like a month, right? And he was having success in the booth, and then they changed his responsibilities up, and now everything's kind of in disarray again. And it doesn't help that the Bears are playing like really good teams, and so, they're all their faults are shadowed, or like magnified, right? The clip we heard there was Doug Kramer, who has one job, right? He's like a backup lineman who comes in and plays fullback occasionally, and he's on the field like twice, and he forgot what he was supposed to do. So it's very, very Bears. Takes a touchdown off the board, and we settle for a field goal. It's
Can
just,
you explain to me a little bit about the need to report that you're a receiver and
yeah. So
why?
if you have to report as an eligible player if you're not going to be on the line, essentially. And if you have an extra lineman, they have to report as eligible. And so the fact that he didn't report as eligible means I think that means he's illegally down the field because he goes before the running back. I'm not 100% sure on the rule on that, but I just know if you have an extra lineman, they have to report as eligible if they're not on the offensive line. And then when Kramer lines up in the backfield, he needs to report as eligible, like an eligible player.
So if we had a regular person who was playing fullback, does a fullback have to come in and
No.
be like, because he's not a lineman?
Correct.
Seems kind of like a stupid rule, maybe.
It
Like,
is stupid, but the Bears are stupid too.
yeah, I'm not, you got to follow.
They had a fullback. They had a fullback, Kari Blasingame, who they cut, and they're like, literally, had a fullback, and they cut him so that they can give this schmo the roles and responsibilities, and he's so far not been able to handle a handoff and forgot to report as eligible. And don't you think they could have used a fullback when they're trying to run their shifty speed guy in between the tackles to pick up a tough yard? Like, you don't think a fullback could pick up a yard, in those situations? But they're so dumb, and like they don't know how to use their personnel. It's 4th and 1. Let's run DeAndre Swift between the tackles, which is not his strength at all, right? Even just give it to Homer. Even he's a little bit more of a downhill runner, but they do the same things, and then they seem confused when the same results keep happening. And
yeah, that's
everybody
the
can see
definition
it
of
plain as
crazy.
day. Yes, it's insanity.
Yeah.
They're an insane franchise, and I guess we're insane because we keep watching them do the same stupid shit, and we're talking ourselves into different results. So maybe we're all just insane.
Yeah, it's a bad relationship that we have with each other, and everyone's insane and in love. And
I do like how they're using DJ, like Devo Samuel, a little bit on some of these reverses and handoffs and kind of stuff. I mean, he's a good deep ball guy too. They're just not really exploring that. So I like that, I guess. I mean, they put some solid drives together, seemed like, and they just kind of, they lost one on 4th down, and the other one, Kieran, oh my God, he can't block anyone. He got beat and strip sack, which, he was bad. He was really bad. He had 4 penalties, and, they said 4 pressures allowed, but felt like a lot more. But the Bears aren't really helping him. I mean, he's going up against Greener, who's one of the better defensive ends. And I know you can't chip on every single play, but man, he was just getting roasted out there. And Caleb looked like he was ready to ascend, into the heavens. Like, he's just like, take me away.
he was like lying, bent over, like sitting, but his top half was like bent over on the bench. Like, yeah, he seems, I mean, he has sort of negatively, he's been setting lots of Bears records, and one of them was, setting the
Sacks.
sack record. And I remember, like, I still think about how sad I feel about David Carr, and our boy is now sort of tickling shockingly close.
I think he's got like 20 sacks to go, and there's 3 games left.
I think 14. Caleb's got 58, and
okay, so
Carr had
14 sacks to get.
72. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Oh yeah, that's definitely doable. 14 sacks in 3 games. Might as well give him that record now.
That's like,
this is all on polls, man. Like, he's been building this team from the outside in, and it's showing, which is very surprising for an offensive lineman. Really the only investment that he's made, high investment he's made, 2. Darnell Wright, who's looking like a solid starter, I wouldn't say an exceptional starter. He's a solid starter. You could certainly do worse. And Nate Davis, he threw a bunch of money at, who was garbage. Everything else has been bargain. Braxton Jones was a late round pick. Tevin Jenkins wasn't his pick. Coleman Shelton, bargain basement, right? And same thing with Matt Pryor and Doug Kramer, who still keeps on the roster for some reason. Like he just doesn't care, about that position. His first two picks were Gordon and Brisker. Solid contributors, but no, didn't address the O-line, right? Even Tyreek Stevenson didn't address the O-line. The pick after him was John Michael Schmitz, who's a starting center for the Giants. Pretty solid. Could have used that guy probably instead of Tyreek Stevenson, who can't tackle anyone and commits pass interferences and just, kind of a doofus. So, yeah, not great. Not great. So the defense, I thought they had some moments.
Yeah.
It felt like that game could have been a lot worse, but it was like, 10-0 for a while, and then even 13-0. You're like, they're still kind of in this.
Yeah.
But they gave up a lot of 3rd and longs, like 3rd and 17, 3rd and 14, 3rd and 10s. Just couldn't tackle anybody, right? They'd get him in front of the sticks, and Aaron Jones or whomever would break 1 or 2 arm tackles and get a first down, and just wasn't good.
There were
Just wasn't
multiple
good, man.
Vikings players wearing sunglasses, like fun hanging out sunglasses. Aaron Jones was wearing it on the
Oh, yeah.
sideline.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson was wearing it while he was telling Caleb Williams he's a killer, and it's like that's too many people looking too cool. Like that's a bad look
Yeah.
for us. Like they're flexing on us, man, and they look
Yeah.
cool. So it's like hard for me to be mad, but it's like, yo, they're just wearing chillin' shades, man.
They're
Like,
they're just not gonna take us seriously, They're not gonna take the Bears seriously. And why would you? I mean, they're running their offense through like a 32-year-old wide receiver who makes some good catches, but he also dropped like 4 balls. You target your tight end once, and Caleb Williams, I think I read somewhere he's got like 115 passer rating when he targets Cole Kmet. Like, why aren't you involving him more in the offense? They just don't know what they're doing. And I don't know how much of this is like Thomas Brown's like, look, it's the middle of the season. We learned Shane Waldron's playbook and his offense. I have to keep it 90% the same. We can't really just redo everything right away. My God, that was just a train wreck. The whole the coaching staff, that whole decision, everything's just been not great. And the fact that this team fell apart after a Hail Mary, like absolutely fell apart. It's like, man, maybe that culture wasn't as strong as polls thought it was. So
yeah. I mean, that's like, it just, as you said that, it got me thinking about when Steve Bartman got the baseball and then like fucked up everything for that game. And like, like what a one
Snowball.
moment can really, I mean, things truly are, I mean, things are quite fragile in one moment. I mean, that's literally that one moment kind of like set the stage for everything.
Yeah. And nobody's innocent in this, right? I mean, Caleb's big, depending on who you talk to, either he's getting a pass because he's a rookie or people are coming down really hard on him. Troy Aikman and Joe Buck were like relentless. They were just pointing out all of his mistakes. And it's like, all right, Troy, settle down. You had like 3 touchdowns and 15 interceptions your rookie year.
I think he said he
Like,
had 0-11 his rookie year too or something.
Yeah. I mean, Caleb holds onto the ball too long, missed a bunch of open reads. His deep ball is still really not great, but I think he's also like totally changing how he's playing because he's afraid he's going to die on like every single snap, because Amagachi can't block anyone. Coleman Shelton constantly gets blown up at the point of attack and he's on his ass like half a game. It's just bad, man. Even like Rome is solid, but he dropped a touchdown pass too. Like, everything just goes sort of wrong. We can't execute anything perfectly. Anytime we do a play, all 11 guys have to be on the same page, right? And we always have it where 1 or 2 guys are not. And it just fucks everything up. Even when the other 9 guys or 10 guys do it great, and one guy fucks it up so bad that it like doesn't count. Good play will be come back for a penalty. Kramer forgets the report, right? And it's just like, my God, like how much more of this can we take?
Yeah, well, you're gonna have to do 3 more games.
I'm gonna have to do 3. We're gonna have to do 3 more of these. I don't even know if anybody's still listening. Is anybody still listening to this?
My hope is people listen out of a love for us and out of a hope for an insight that is maybe kind of a nuanced perspective on it all, and hopefully.
Did you know Jalen Johnson didn't have the C captain on his jersey this week? And they asked Thomas Brown about it, and he goes, "Oh no, yeah, he's still a captain. And I guess the equipment guy messed up and like forgot to put the CA jersey on
So
his
just at all
CDM."
levels.
Yeah, just incompetence everywhere, like throughout the organization.
That must be maddening because our team is, they're all like Keenan Allen's like has, I don't know, they keep talking about him having like the most receptions of an active player or whatever the
Yeah,
fuck he's doing.
yeah,
DJ Moore had thousands of thousands, so many yards of catching
yeah.
last season. And like Caleb Williams is Caleb Williams, and we got this defense. And so you have like a team full of like clearly competent people. They're all
Sure. Yeah,
good
I agree.
and
That's why we
effective.
had the audacity to hope. And then they just come and they get the Bears stank on them. And it just like they all of a sudden forget how to play football and are terrible.
It actually got me thinking, you were talking about like last week, you're like, Caleb should ask for a trade. And it got me thinking about Eli Manning when he's like, I'm not going to go
Yeah.
play for the Chargers. And now he goes to the Giants, or no, when he went to the Giants, they win the Super Bowl and Eli's
Mhm.
cool and everything. And it's like, there is like, at the time you're like, man, fuck Eli Manning, dude. Like, but it didn't happen to us, and I
Mhm.
don't really care. But I'm sure San Diego still probably forever is like, fuck you. But like,
Yeah.
there is something to like, I'd heard the same thing with the Bulls, and maybe these were rumors or whispers of like, I don't want to come to that organization because the organization's fucked up and I don't like it. And like,
Yeah.
talking about,
Yeah.
we want to attract coaches, we want to draw people. Like, what are you in
Players
this?
talk, man. Like there's bad juju. If there's bad juju, and people don't want to go there. I mean, ultimately, players, if you're going to pay them gobs of money, if you're like the highest offer by a lot, they're going to go there, right? Because their careers are, they're not like working for 30 years like average Americans. They have like 5 to 7 years to make as much money as they can, and then they don't really have a lot of transferable skills afterwards.
Yeah.
For like 80 to 90% of them, right? Some of them go into TV and do coaching, all that other stuff, but like 80 to 90% of them, it's like I need to make as much money as I can in 5 to 6 years before my body like gets destroyed, and then that's it. So,
Yeah.
but you're right. I mean, it's more so about the coaching, right? It's like what coach is going to look at this and be like, this seems like a stable place for me to go. Like, all right, this GM, is he going to get fired? Is he not going to get fired? I don't know. Like Kevin Warren said that he's going to be the GM of the Bears. It's like, okay, so if I take him at his word, he's obviously not done a great job. So I'm going to go into an organization that like is kind of incompetent. Or it's like, well, he can fire him and bring in a new GM, but then like now I don't trust this guy who's basically saying like, oh, I would have kept him, but he's gonna fire him. Like that seems like an untrustworthy place to work. So you're just like, I don't know, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. And like they just really need to get this head coaching and quarterback situation right. I mean, the Commanders were a disaster for a long time. They got it right, and now they're doing well. Houston was a disaster for a long time. They nailed those two things. They got it well. The Vikings nailed the head coach, and now it's just like they're rolling, right? You just gotta get it right, man. You just gotta luck into it because the Bears don't have any skill in identifying any of this. At least George, I don't think, doesn't. But maybe they'll luck into it. At some point, they have to, right? The law of averages says that like you gotta get somebody competent at some point, right?
Yeah. The slump eventually ends. It just is, how long is that timeline for the slump?
Yeah.
It is interesting as you say that because it's like, we talk about the Hail Mary basically like sort of crumbled our sort of castle. But, as you said, one good decision from a coach, upper management could stabilize the ship potentially.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is
Yeah.
an interesting thing. It's like one thing can point you in either direction. And
Yeah.
it is, it's like simple to some degree, but it's also like a very important.
That's all you have. That's all we have to look forward to, right? Is like, what else can we do? Is just hope that like they hire the right coach and maybe get a different GM. I've been a Poles advocate, but like I don't see how you can let him make any more draft selections given how poorly his draft selections have gone, thus far, his just negligence for addressing the trenches, right? They're going to have 3 top 40 picks next year. And those are going to be very important, right? They should be on the offensive line or defensive line, but is Poles going to like draft a, cornerback again or something, right? Because he's done that in the past. And so I don't know. I don't know how much leeway he's got right now. There's a lot of weird energy coming out of Hallis Hall with,
Yeah.
Poles saying he was unhappy, and then Warren's camp, I think, went to Dan Wieder of the Tribune and just basically talked about how awful Polson's been in the last couple of years and his decision making. So I don't know, man. See, the end of the season can't get here fast enough, to tell you the truth. So
Not that we want to stop talking to you all about this stuff. We do love it, but it is like yeah, it's a rough. It's rough, man. It's rough.
it's not gonna get better. I mean, they might have a chance to beat Seattle.
Yeah.
Especially if Gino doesn't play.
Yeah.
Sam Howell's kind of a turnover machine.
Yeah.
They might have a chance at that one. I mean, but it's a Thursday. That's going to be their third game in 11 days. They're already like half their team is concussed.
Yeah.
There's like a concussion bug going around at Hallis. So, I mean, they're not very good, but Seattle with Sam Howell will be gettable. Who knows? But that's about it. The Lions are coming off a loss. They're pissed off. And they're coming to Soldier Field. They're 7-point favorites. I just imagine it's just going to be another thrashing.
Yeah, I feel like maybe they'll drop 50 because they played really good and scored a lot of points and they didn't score enough to win. So it seems like a potential for lots of points.
Unless it's like super cold out, because Jared Goff has tiny hands and he doesn't do well in the cold. That could be something, but yeah. I don't know.
Ooh, man. Yeah. Damn. All right. Well, any final bits from this game? Anything sort of for the next game? Things people should know, care about?
Just I hope Caleb doesn't die.
Yeah.
So keep him in your thoughts. And, send him your well wishes.
For Samir Patel, I'm Chirag Rathod. We are the Bears in the neighborhood, and we will catch y'all next week.
Thanks for still listening, Saskatchewan.